All right. Happy Sabbath, everybody. We have actually finished Daniel 11. It took us 13 weeks. 13 weeks, more than 3 months to go through Daniel 11. That's pretty amazing. To go through all of that, it took us more than 3 months, 13 weeks. It's all recorded though, so we can always go back to study it. But anyway, today is May the 6th, 2017, and we're going to study the 7 seals. Specifically, we have to understand the 7th seal, right? That's why I chose this, the 7th seal. And the 7th seal, we know it's in the book of Revelation, right? Revelation. So we need to understand what the 7 seals mean. What does it mean for when it was first understood and when it was fulfilled? Because it is being fulfilled for our time also, right? Okay. So let's understand what is the 7 seals. All right. Let me go to our first verse here. It's in Revelation 8. Okay? Revelation 8, verse 1 to 2. And when he had opened the 7th seal, there was silence in heaven about the space of half an hour. All right? So that's talking about the 7th seal. So right away, Revelation 8, it opens up with the 7th seal. And the 7th seal has something to do with the space of half an hour. The space of half an hour, that is a silence in heaven. All right? And then, verse 2, it goes, and I saw the 7 angels that stood before God, and to them were given 7 trumpets. Okay, so the 7 seals has something to do with the 7 trumpets. Right? We've studied the 7 trumpets a lot, right? Can you give, the 7 trumpets are, remember the 7 trumpets? What's the first 4 trumpets? The first 4 trumpets are the Goths, the Vandals, the Huns, and Heruli. And then the 5, 6, and 7 is the 3 woes, add that to the 3 woes. And the first woe is, the first woe is the 150 years, right? In Revelation 9. Right? And then the what is the second woe is the 1 year, 1 day, 1 month, and 1, 391 and 15, right? And then the third woe is 9/11. All right. Third woe is 9/11, when Revelation 18, 1 to 3 is fulfilled. Right? That's the third woe. Okay. So that's the 7 trumpets. But the 7 seals has something to do with the 7 trumpets. All right? We've studied the 7 trumpets a lot. But we did this study several years ago, so I just have to go back and dig it up, kind of revise the slides a little bit and add more about the 7 seals. Okay, so we're going to do more about the seals now. But we cannot study the seals unless we study the trumpets also, because it runs parallel, right? Certain parts of it runs parallel. Okay, so what is it that is sealed? And he opened the 7th seal. Okay, this is 7. So what was it that was sealed? A book. All right, so where do we find this book that was sealed? Right, we go back to Revelation 5. Revelation 5, verse 1 to 5. And I saw in the right hand of him that sat on a throne a book, written within and on the backside. So the inside and the backside there's writing on it, Okay, I guess inside and the backside. Sealed with 7 seals. There's 7 seals. And I saw a strong angel proclaiming with a loud voice, who is worthy to open the book, to loose the 7 seals thereof? And no man in heaven, nor earth, neither under the earth was able to open the book, neither to look thereon. And I wept much. Okay, what did he do? He wept. Right? He wept. And this is important also. We'll note why this is important. Because John wept. Because no man was found worthy to open and read the book, neither to look thereon. And one of the elders said unto me, Weep not. Behold, who can open this book? The Lion of the tribe of Judah. And who is that? The root of David. Obviously we know who that is. It's only Jesus that can open the book to loose the 7 seals thereof. All right? So, okay. So what is it that is opened? What is it that is sealed? A book. All right? And he was disappointed. He'll go, oh, no, I can't read it. I don't understand it. All right? And it's the Lion of the tribe of Judah. Now remember, this is unsealed. All right? Because we know that these 7 seals are unsealed. So this is not the one that is unsealed in Revelation 22. Revelation 22, it says there's going to be a prophecy that is unsealed, right? And that's the 7 thunders. Because that's sealed and it's, right. Here, Revelation, these 7 seals are unsealed. Okay. Where else do we see a book that is? There's a book that is written within and without. Ezekiel, there's a book. Or Revelation has a book that has 7 seals and has a writing within and without. Right? Ezekiel 2. And when I looked, behold, a hand was sent unto me, and lo, a roll of book was therein. And he spread it before me, and it was written within and without. Okay, before we go into Ezekiel 2 here, and what was written in it? Lamentations, mournings, and woes. Okay, it's a judgment thing, right? What is going to be in it is judgments. Judgments is going to be in that book, right? Remember Ezekiel 1. What happened in Ezekiel 1? He was given a vision. What kind of vision was it? The wheels within the wheels, right? All right. And then after that, he was given the book. All right. And then, okay, I won't go into too much detail there, but that vision was given at midnight, because it's the 5th day of the 4th month, right? It was midnight, Ezekiel 1, right? And the vision of the wheels within the wheels, we understand by going back in our studies, is the prophecies. He understands the prophecies, okay? And then he was given this book within that has writing within and without, and in it were judgments. Because what happened after that? In Ezekiel 3, what was he told to do and go to the rebellious house of Israel? What was he to do? He was to tell them of what's going to happen to them, right? Right. So he was given, he was opening up warnings, all right? Warnings of what is going to happen. That's Ezekiel 3. And Ezekiel 4, what happened in Ezekiel 4? He's going to be, Jerusalem is going to be sieged, right? And he was giving the prophecy of the 40 and the 350, the 390 and the 40. And what was that about? Jerusalem is going to be sieged. What is it? What does Jerusalem being sieged? What does that mean? The judgment. When does that happen in our time? Jerusalem is going to be sieged. When the church has gone down. When America goes down and the Sunday law. That's what? When the temple is laid flat and not one stone upon another stone. When is that? When Jerusalem is sieged, the Sunday law. So remember, the seals is giving you a warning of what's going to happen at the Sunday law. All right? Okay, that's Ezekiel. Okay. Where else is there a book that is sealed? Daniel also. Daniel 12. Daniel 12, and thou, O Daniel, shut up the words, and seal the book even to the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased. And he said, go thy way, Daniel, for the words are closed up and sealed until when? The time of the end. And we know the time of the end is when? 1798. Oh, wow. And also it's repeated in our time in 1989. But at the time of the end is 1798, right? Because then the first angel's message can start to be given, all right? So what is this little book? Ellen White said, the little book that is being sealed is the prophecies of Daniel that has not been fulfilled yet. From 1798, what is it being fulfilled? You know, Ellen White all those prophecies in the book of Daniel has been fulfilled up until 1798. Then it's sealed up. That little book in our time, the time of the end in our time is 1989. What is being opened up is the prophecies that has not been fulfilled in 1798. So that the book of Daniel that has those prophecies is Daniel 11 verse 40 to 45. So this book that has been sealed even to the time of the end and is being opened up now is Daniel 11 verse 40 to 45. Anyway. Okay. All right, so we go here again. And when the seven thunders had uttered their voices and are about to write, seal up these things which the seven thunders uttered, and write them not. And I went unto the angel and said to him, give me the little book. And he said to me, take it and eat it up, and it shall make thy belly bitter, and it shall be in thy mouth sweet as honey. Right? So when you eat this little book, it's going to be tasting wheat. When you study the seven thunders, when you study the prophecies, when you study all this, wow, it's so nice. Wow, it's amazing. It's so sweet. But it's going to be bitter. Yeah, because you're going to understand what is going to befall God's people. It's going to be bitter. Right? Yeah. Okay. There, okay, manuscript release, volume 9, page 7, paragraph 4. Right. There in his open hand lay the book, the roll of the history of God's providences, the prophetic histories of nations and the church. Okay, the history of the external history and the internal history. The history of nations is external. And then the church, that's the internal history. Herein was contained the divine utterances, his authority, his commandments, his laws, the whole symbolic counsel of the eternal, and the history of all ruling powers in the nations. This in symbolic language was contained in that roll the influence of every nation, tongue, and people from the beginning of earth history to its close. The roll was written within and without. John says, right? So the same spirit is seen today that is represented in Revelation 6 verse 6 to 8. History is to be repeated. So the book was opened the roll was opened and unsealed in 1798. But it's going to be repeated in our time also. So the seven seals is going to be opened up in our time also. So the time of the end for the Millerites, they were given the secrets of those seven seals, right? But there's some more that has to be revealed unto us also from the time of the end in our time, which is 1989, all right? Okay, because history has to be repeated, right? The Bible has accumulated and bound up together its treasures for this last generation. All the great events and solemn transactions of Old Testament history have been and are repeating themselves in the church in these last days. Everything is being repeated. All right. So these things have to be opened up. So what is it that the seals, what does it mean that the seals are being opened up? What do you think it means now? The seal is the book of, it's obviously the Daniel and Revelation and all the prophecies, right?
The messages will be understood.
The understanding is going to be revealed, right? That's the unsealing. Yeah. The secrets of the books are going to be revealed starting in 1798, but then also again in 1989. Okay. But at the time of the end, says the prophet, 1798, many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased. Since 1798, there you go. Ellen White said, the time of the end is 1798. The book of Daniel have been unsealed. Knowledge of the prophecies have been increased, running to and fro, right? In the book, in the good book. And many have proclaimed the solemn message of the judgment hour. See, that's the same. Ezekiel had to proclaim the judgment hour message, right? It's going to happen. All right. Okay. It was the Lion of the tribe of Judah who unsealed the book and gave to John the revelation of what shall be in these last days. Daniel stood in his lot to bear his testimony, which was sealed until the time of the end, when the first angel's message should be proclaimed to our world. So the time of the end is when? The first angel's message is given. 1798 is when the first angel's message is given, right? And Daniel is going to stand in his lot. Remember, what does it mean that Daniel is going to stand in his lot? Remember what we did? What does it mean when Daniel stands in his lot? You are going to be judged on your knowledge of Daniel's prophecies. That way he's going to stand in his lot when there's a people that is going to understand his prophecies, right? These matters are of infinite importance in these last days. But while many shall be purified and made white and tried, the wicked shall do wickedly, and none of the wicked shall understand. That's Revelation 12 verse 9. What is it that they don't understand? The daily and the 1290 and the 1335 is the prophecies of Daniel. See, Daniel will stand up for those who understand those prophecies. Daniel will stand up, right? Daniel will stand up prophetically in his lot for those who understand those time prophecies, right? And it's going to be repeated in our time because history repeats. Okay, let's see what our pioneer says. This is James White. When Daniel was commanded to seal up and close, Daniel 12:4, is now, through all powerful mediation of the Lion of the tribe of Judah, revealed unto us. Revelation 5:5, hence many run to and fro, and knowledge has increased. Never since the days of our Lord's first advent was the prophetic word so much studied, so many of the ambassadors of Christ engaged in this pursuit, or so much written on this subject. The revelation of Jesus Christ contained in the Apocalypse, which is a revelation, showing the coming of the just one with all his saints to the destruction of the apostate nations, is now made so plain to the church that none can, or at least ought to be ignorant of it. This, however, is a privilege belonging only to the faithful, for it is written that none of the wicked shall understand, but the wise shall understand. So St. Paul speaks, but ye, brethren, are not in darkness, that the day shall overtake you as a thief. And ye are all the children of light and children of day, and ye are not the night or darkness. Through the true light now shineth. It enlighteneth only those who believe. Wow. Those who are paying a prayerful attention to these things have, like the Israelites of old, light in their dwellings, while the rest of the world are sitting in darkness. Oh my. So many do not know what is being written in these books. Even darkness such as may be felt. Oh, it's so dark that you can't even touch it. The opening then and unfolding of the prophetic word is another convincing proof that we are arrived at the end of the age, the unsealing of prophecy, and the revelation of the mystery of God being reserved unto the time of the end. Right? So that's the introduction of the 7 seals. And remember, the 7 seals has something to do with the 7 trumpets and the 7 churches. All right? Yeah. So now we'll go into that. Remember, the unsealing is given the secrets, the understanding. The secrets are revealed to you, right? That's the unsealing. And there's 7 seals. All right, so we're going to go. This have been studied, We've studied this before, we need to review this. Revelation 6, verse 1 and 2. And I saw when the Lamb opened one of the seals, right? One of the seals is being opened. The number 1 is being sealed. I heard, and as it were the noise of thunder, one of the 4 beasts saying, "Come and see." Right? What does it mean, come and see? All right? Okay, we'll get to that. All right? But there's a meaning. What does it mean to come and see? All right, we'll get to that. And I saw, and behold, a white horse. There's that white horse. And he that sat on him had a bow, and a crown was given unto him, and he went forth conquering and to conquer. So who is this? The Lion of the tribe of Judah, which is the Lamb, which is Jesus, opening up the understanding of the first horse, which is the white horse. I said, come and see. Okay, you who are studying, come and see. All right? Study this white horse. What is this white horse? What is the white horse? While the 7 churches represent the internal history of the church, the 7 churches, right? What's the 7 churches? You remember? Ephesus, Smyrna, Pergamos, Thyatira, Sardis, Philadelphia, and Laodicea. That's the 7 churches. Represents the internal history, right? Is the churches the internal history. What about the 7 seals? It brings view the great events of the external history. So the 7 seals is talking about the secrets of what's going to happen that's going to influence the church from external. So what's going to happen to the nations? All right? What's going to happen to the kings and the governments that's going to influence what happens in the church? All right? That's the external. So when we study the 7 seals, it's going to reveal what's happening on the outside, okay? All right, the external history. The first seal showing a white horse. And the rider went forth. What is this? The purity of the church. Which church is this? Do you remember? Which church? Apostolic church. The apostles, the church of the disciples. The 12 disciples. Right? It's a pure church. Right? It represents the work of the gospel. And says, and did the gospel get preached unto the whole world during the age of the apostolic church? Yes, it did. It went all the way to India, all the way to Africa, and the disciples took it to the whole world, the known world at that time, right? Yeah. It went to the whole world. Is that white? That's the white church, right? That's the pure white church of Ephesus. So that's the first seal. The first seal is unsealing of what happens at the time of the white church. All right. Which is Ephesus. All right. And I have we have a chart, and I took it right from the chart here, right? The 7 seals. The church of the apostles, that's Ephesus, right? That's the white horse right there. The seven churches runs together with the, this starts at 31 AD. Okay, all right. There it is, open hand lay the book, the roll of the history of God's providences, the prophetic history of the nations and the church, right? Right. So this is the history of the nations, that's the seven seals, and the church is the seven churches, right? So we saw that. The symbolic language was contained the role, the influence of every nation, tongue, and people from the beginning of its history to its close, right? All, as the book was unrolled, all who looked upon it were filled with awe. There was no blanks in the book. There was space for no more writing. Oh, wow. What does that mean? That's it. When you understand this, that's it. You have come to the fulfillment, right? You have come to the fulfillment. There's no more space for any more writing. When you understand all of this, that's it. You have come to the fulfillment of all the truth. Wow. That's pretty amazing. That's pretty scary, actually. Right? All right. Oh, that's the first seal. I just went it real quick, right? Right. That's the first seal. We just went real quick. And when he opened the second seal, I heard the second beast say, what? Come and see again. Come and see. Right? And there went out another horse, and it was red. And power was given to him, set thereupon to take peace from the earth. There was no peace on earth, and they should kill one another. And there was given unto him a great sword. Okay, a great sword and a red horse. Come and see. Right? Which church is this? What's that afterwards? The second seal introduces a red horse. Under the seal, peace is taken from the earth. Right? This is shown by a great sword in the hands of him who sat on the horse. The seal is supposed to cover the time from the apostles up to the close of the first centuries to the day of Constantine. In his day, the church has so far apostatized that peace was taken from the earth. So what this church was being persecuted also, right? There was a time of persecution, and which it was the persecution of Diocletian. Remember, the church was being persecuted at the time of which church is this? The church of Smyrna, the church of persecution. All right. Okay, this is what Ellen White says. Preachers of people have looked upon the book of Revelation as mysteries and of less importance than the portions of the sacred scriptures. He says, you know what, it's so deep, it's so, they said it's mystical, that you can't even understand it. But I saw that this book is indeed a revelation given for the special benefit of those who live in the last days, to guide them in ascertaining their true position and their duty. God directed the mind of William Miller. Ellen White said, God directed the mind of William Miller to the prophecies and to give him the great light upon the book of Revelation. To William Miller was given the great light on the book of Revelation concerning what? The churches, the seals, and the thunders. If you want to know about it, Ellen White endorses William Miller, specifically in the churches, the seals, and the thunders. So this is what William Miller says about the church of Smyrna. The red horse denotes blood and carnage, and has reference to the times of persecution in the days of Nero, and the other Roman empires, Diocletian and all that. And it's the church of Smyrna, right there, okay? So far, the first seal and the first church lines up, right? For about year 100 to 323, okay? Right? All the way to time of Constantine. That's the church of Smyrna. Okay, now we go. Oh, all right. Here. This is the come and see. Now we are going to see this come and see. Where is this come and see? You see this specifically in William Miller's writing. Remember, Ellen White endorsed William Miller. And William Miller had his second dream. And where was that second dream written in? The books of early writings. It actually takes up one chapter in the books of early writings. In other words, William Miller's writing is part of the spirit of prophecy, right? I'm not gonna go do the whole but I'm just going towards the end. While I was thus weeping and mourning. Oh, see, he says in this casket, and then there were jewels. And what happened to those jewels? It was scattered, right? And what did he say? Oh no, it's being, and it was heaped rubbish on top of it, and nobody can find those jewels anymore, right? And so what happened? While I was thus weeping and mourning. Oh, just like John was weeping that nobody can open up the 7 seals, right? And here, William Miller was weeping and mourning. For my great loss and accountability, I remember God and earnestly prayed that He would send me help. Immediately the door opened, and a man entered the room. Right? Who is this man? And when the people all left it, and he with a dirt brush, this man with a dirt brush in his hand, opened the windows, he began to brush the dirt and rubbish from the room. I cried to him to forbear, and for there were some precious jewels scattered among the rubbish. He told me, fear not, for he would take care of them. Then, while he brushed the dirt and the rubbish, false jewels and counterfeit coin all rose and went out the window like a cloud, and all the counterfeit went out, and the wind carried them away. In a bustle I closed my eyes for a moment. When I opened them, the rubbish was all gone. The precious jewels, the diamonds, gold, silver, coins lay scattered in profusion all over the room. He then placed on a table a casket, a much larger and more beautiful than the former. So before it was a small casket, now it's a much larger casket. Okay, there's a meaning to this. Okay, all right. When we studied this, before it was the Bible, but now is the Bible and the spirit of prophecy. Right? It's a much larger casket and much more beautiful when you add the spirit of prophecy to the Bible. And gathered up the jewels, the diamonds, and the coins by handful, and cast them into the casket, till not one was left, although some of the diamonds were not bigger than the point of a pin. He then called upon me. Who's this dirt brush man? It's Jesus. Jesus called upon me and what said? Come and see. The same thing, right? So the time of William Miller, there's going to be these jewels that is going to be scattered. Then it's going to be revealed. And what is the Lion of tribe of Judah, which is the dirt brush man, say? Come and see. Right? It's the same thing. It's exactly the unsealing of the 7 seals. And I looked into the casket, and my eyes were open and dazzled with the sight. They shone with 10 times their former glory. And I thought they had been scoured the sand by the feet of those wicked persons who had scattered and trod them in the dust. They were arranged in beautiful order. Now it's in an order. Okay? All right? Everyone in its place, without any visible pains of the man who cast them in. I shouted with very joy, and that shout awoke me. There was a shout that awoke him. Where was this? As at the midnight cry, when all the other false understandings are swept away, right? Right? When fanaticism will evaporate, right? Fanaticism will evaporate. And there's the come and see. So you know what the come and see means? That's when you have the understanding of those little jewels, those secrets, right? Okay. So you're going to have to study what those secrets are. Right. And those are the 7 thunders also, right? That's when they have the 7 thunders, right? Okay. So what is the third beast now? And when he opened the 3rd seal, I heard the 3rd beast say, come and see again. Right? So far, the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd say, come and see. And this one is a what? It's a black horse. All right. And it sat upon a pair of balances. Oh, there's judgment. And I heard a voice in the midst of the 4 beasts say, a measure for wheat and a penny, 3 measures for barley and a penny, and thou hurt not the oil and the wine. Okay, we don't have to go into all of that. There's big meanings behind all of this. But which church is this? Okay, after Smyrna, that's what? It's, no, Pergamos. It's a black horse. There's a terrible apostasy, both in doctrine and practice, and should have taken place in the church. Because this is now the time of who? Constantine. What did Constantine do? Apostasy. What did he do? He bring in all the pagan, right? Pagan rites. Everything was brought in. All paganist rites and all these saints and all these rituals and all this Catholic faith was brought into the pagan church. Pagan rituals was all brought into the Christian church. And what did it become? It amalgamated and became the Catholic Church. That's what Constantine did, right? So this, without going too much, we know this. Constantine was converted, right? With all his army, they're all baptized, right? This was a period of superstition, darkness, and error, in which the principles of the great papal apostasy were rapidly developed, right? Right. This is William Miller's. What does William Miller say? The seal was opened up in the days of Constantine, when a religion became popular and was a stepping stone to power. And a seal agrees with the Pergamus. This is the church of Pergamus now. It's the church of compromise, right? The balances denote the religion and civil power. Oh, now it's a church and state, right? Would be united in the person who would administer the executive power in the government, and that he should claim the judicial authority both in the church and state. This is the church and state. True was among the Roman emperors from the days of Constantine until the reign of Justinian, when he gave the same judicial power to the Bishop of Rome. When did he do that? 533, when he claimed that now the papacy is the corrector of heretics, right? Right? Yeah. And then eventually in 538, then there was a Sunday law made in France, and also the Ostrogoths were uprooted. The three obstacles were taken out of power, right? The oil and the wine denote the graces of the Spirit, faith and love, and there was great danger of hurting these under influence of so much worldly spirit. Okay, so this is Pergamus, when there's a compromise at the time of Constantine, right? 323 to 538, kind of at that time frame. Okay, what's the last church? Obviously, we know this is Dark Ages. This is Thyatira, the pale horse. And when he had opened the fourth seal, I heard the voice of the fourth beast, "Come and see." There's "come and see" again. And behold, I behold a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death, and hell followed with him. And power was given to them over the fourth part of the earth, to kill with the sword and hunger and with death and the beasts of the earth. This is when the papacy ruled supreme, right? The fourth supreme is the fourth seal is the pale horse, whose name rider was Death. And this is the papal supremacy from 538 until the Great Reformation that starts with Martin Luther. But the papacy eventually falls. They received a deadly wound in 1798 at the time of the end, right? So the fourth seal is Thyatira, right? Thyatira. The fourth seal, Thyatira. How long is this church is going to, and there was given him power was given unto him to continue 42 months. 42 months. That's Thyatira.
What's the characteristics?
It's
Persecution.
persecution, right? The church under the 1260 years, right? Persecution. This is the Dark Ages, right? Church in the wilderness, right? The church in the wilderness. Okay. All right. Okay. Here's another thing that to understand of what James White says. We have now traced the churches, the seals, and the beasts, or living beings, as far as they will compare as covering the same periods of time. See, like Ephesus, Smyrna, Pergamus, and Thyatira is kind of like the same time period as the seven seals, right? The seals are 7 in numbers. The beast, but 4. But there's only 4 beasts. There's 4 horses. And it may well be here to notice that the opening of the first, second, third, and fourth seals the first, second, and third four beasts are heard to say, "Come and see." And when the fifth, sixth, and seventh seals are opened, there's no such voice heard. There's no "come and see" in the 5, 6, and 7. All right? Compare as covering the same periods of time as the first four churches, the first four seals do. So the first four seals line up with the first four churches. Remember? Right. But as we have shown, the churches, seals, and beasts do agree as covering the same periods of time for the space of nearly 1800 years, till we come down to a little more than half a century of the present time. Right? So it's going to come down all the way until almost until their time. Okay? But remember, the first four kind of they kind of line up. Remember? But the fifth, sixth, and 7 do not line up. Okay? 5th, 6th, and 7 do not line up. Right? We're going to see how it happens here. Okay? All right. Before we do that, we need to understand this. In Prophets and Kings, we know this. Well, I could read it, but then I'm just going to summarize this. The 70 years of Babylon, Ellen White says, corresponds to the 1260 of relentless persecution of God's church in the wilderness. So God's church in Babylon was being persecuted for 70 years. That's the same thing as the 1260 years that God's church was persecuted in the wilderness by the papacy, right? Which is also symbolized by Babylon, right? Okay, so we go. 1260 is the time of Thyatira, right? Equal to the 70 years of Babylon also. All right. Okay, now when I'm doing this, you're going to start seeing. If that is equal, right, that is Thyatira. This is the Christian church. The Christian church starts with Ephesus, and then goes to Smyrna, and then Pergamos, and then Thyatira right here. And after that, it's, what is that? Sardis, and then Philadelphia, and then Laodicea. Right? There's Laodicea. Right? But the 5th, 6th, and 7, we'll see the 5th is right here. The 6th is right here. And the 7th somewhere here. Okay? It does not correspond to a strict time like this, like timeline here. Okay? Now, the thing about it is, what Ellen White is hiding in here is this. This is Thyatira. This is the Dark Ages of the papacy. Right? That's the church of the Christian church. This line down here is the Christian church. Right? That has Ephesus, Smyrna, Pergamos, Thyatira. All right? The 7 churches. But up here is the church, the Hebrew church, while they were in Babylon. So what it's saying? What is Ellen White saying? The Hebrew church also has the 7 churches. Right? The Hebrew church has the 7 churches. And we're going to show that. From the time of Moses until the time of Jesus. There's the 7 churches. You can see Ephesus, Smyrna, Pergamos, and Thyatira. Because Thyatira is when they were in Babylon. Ephesus is when they came out of Egypt, the time of Moses. All right? Okay. And you will see those 7 churches in the time of the Hebrew church. Because you see those 7 churches in the time of the Christian church. Right? Right? You see that? Okay. All right. You know, it took a little while for me to get that. Oh, that's what it means. There's a little bit more deeper understanding to this now. Right? Yeah. Because she says Thyatira is both Babylonian captivity and also the papal captivity, right? So it means that Thyatira is also part of the Hebrew church. All right, okay. Okay, all right. We'll get to that later, all right? So how are we good? Are we good on time? Yeah, we're okay. So here, let me drink a little bit. We go to the fifth seal. So far, anything? Any questions so far? Pretty straightforward, right? We've studied this before, and this is meant for a review. I tell you, no matter how many times you study this, it's still good to review it. Okay, Revelation 6, verse 9 to 11. 9 to 11? You start getting suspicious after you're studying. You see 9 to 11. Okay. And when he had opened the fifth seal, I saw under the altar the souls of them that were slain for the word of God. There were souls under the altar, right? That were slain. Okay, so these are martyrs, right? For the word of God and for the testimony which they held. And they cried with a loud voice. Oh, they said with a loud voice, how long? Okay. So there's a how long. Before there was a like come and see, right? Now there's a how long. Okay. All right. We understand what come and see is, because come and see the secrets that are being revealed, right? What is this how long now? How long, O Lord, holy and true, dost thou not judge and avenge our blood on them that dwell on the earth? We have died for your truths, but those who have killed us are living nicely. How long are you going to avenge our blood? For those people who the enemies of your truth are just going to live like kings. What are they going to do? What? How long? We're suffering down here in this. And white robes were given unto every one of them. I said these white robes, that they should rest yet for a little season. I said, okay, you have a white robe, but you're going to what? You're going to rest for a little season. You rest a while still, okay? Until their fellow servants and also their brethren that should be killed as they were shall be fulfilled. How long are we going to be under this altar? And the answer is what? Enter, there's some more martyrs going to be killed. Okay? When is this? When is this how long? When is these martyrs going to be killed? All right? The answer is how long. So we got to understand what how long means. Right? By faith Abel offered up unto God a more excellent sacrifice than Cain, in which he obtained witnesses that he was righteous, God testifying of his gifts, and by it he being dead yet speaketh. So what? Here, Abel, he's dead, but he can speak, right? So this means it's spiritual, right? So these saints, they're spiritually speaking. They're spiritually asking for vengeance. How long? How long is it going to be? And then the answer is, there's going to be another group of martyrs who's going to be martyred. That's going to be how long, okay? All right, that's the fifth seal. And we had opened the fifth seal. I saw under the altar the souls of them that were slain for the word of God. Here were scenes presented to John that were not in reality. Of course isn't. Well, obviously, is this actually true? Can the saints actually speak? No, it's not in reality. But they which would be in a period of time in the future. It's going to be in the future. All right. Okay. All right. Manuscripts 39, page 1906. When the fifth seal was opened, okay. All right. This is going to give you a clue when the fifth seal is opened. John the Revelator in vision saw beneath the altar the company that were slain for the word of God and the testimony of Jesus Christ. After this came the scene described in the 18th chapter of 18th of Revelation. Okay, after this was Revelation 18 fulfilled. Well, we now know it's 9/11, right? But Revelation 9 from 9/11 till the Sunday law. Yes, you have to come out of Babylon, and that was completely filled at the Sunday law. So this had to happen before. So it was being revealed. It was revealed, right? After the scenes revealed. when those who are faithful and true are called out from Babylon. Okay, all right. You got to remember this, okay? All right. But anyway, you remember Revelation 18, 1 to 3. Good thing we kind of actually went through it a little bit earlier, all right? But the fifth seal was opened. The fifth seal was opened when the saints, we have to know how long. The secret is knowing how long. As the approach of the Roman armies was a sign to disciples of the impending destruction of Jerusalem. The approaching Roman armies, what is that? That's Cestius and Titus, right? What does that mean spiritually, prophetically? The abomination of desolation. This is the abomination of desolation, right? The abomination of desolation stand in the holy place, meaning it's going to encompass Jerusalem. So many this apostasy to be a sign to us that the limit of God's forbearance is reached. What does it mean that the Roman armies are encompassing Jerusalem? That's when the doctrine of Rome is going to come into the church. It's going to stand where it ought not. All right. This is a sign that the limit of God's forbearance is reached, that the measure of our nation's iniquity. When is our nation's iniquity full? When it enacts a Sunday law. That's it. When America sets up the Sunday law, that's it. The iniquity is full. No more turning back for America. That's it. America's probation is completely closed. That's at the Sunday law. This is Sunday law. It's talking about the Sunday law. And that the angel of mercy is about to take her flight, never to return. Never to return. That's it. Probation is finished for this country. The people of God will then be plunged into these scenes of affliction and distress, which prophet had described as the time of Jacob's troubles. After that is going to be the time of... We know this is after the close of probation. After Michael stands up is at Jacob's time of trouble. But there's a little time of trouble after the Sunday law. The cries of the faithful persecuted ones ascend to heaven. And as the blood of Abel cried from the ground, there are voices also crying to God from martyr graves, from the sepulchres of the sea, from mountain caverns, from covenant vaults. How long, O Lord, holy and true, dost thou not judge and avenge our blood on them that dwell on earth? How long, all right? Okay. So this how long, we got to find out how long. What is it talking about, the how long? Oh, okay. This is a synopsis, okay? The synopsis, the fifth seal. That's right, we already read this. The white robes that were given to them were robes of character. They had gone down into the grave covered with ignominy and reproach. But the Reformation vindicated them in the eyes of all Christendom. So now they're being vindicated in the time of Reformation. So the fifth seal is actually starting in the time of Reformation, when the time of Martin Luther, right? So that's Thyatira is all the way here, but the fifth seal starts at 1517. That's when the martyrs, the Protestant martyrs starts, right? Time of Martin Luther, time of Berquin in France, remember? Yeah. Jerome and Huss and all that. Okay, that's the fifth seal. So it actually is within the time of Thyatira. Yeah, Thyatira is still going on like this, but the fifth seal is before Thyatira ends. Right? Because the martyrs, that's when the martyrs starts. The martyrs are being martyred. Okay. All right. I think we have time to go into how long. All right. I'm going to go into how long. Right. What does it mean to be how long? We need to know what it means, how long. Okay. I'm going to give you a clue. All these how longs point to the Sunday law. All right. And we're going to have to prove this. We're going to have to prove this from the Bible. All right. How long is it Because at the Sunday law, that's when they're going to start to be martyrs, right? Yeah, we know there's going to start to be martyrs starting the Sunday law. You're right? Yeah, we all agree with that, right? Yeah. And that's going to be the other group of people that the martyrs are waiting, right? So the martyrs that were waiting at the time of the persecution under Thyatira, under the time of when the 1260, all those martyrs, they're waiting for the martyrs that are going to come at the Sunday law, right? That's the how long. Okay, we're going to have to prove this. All right. What was that?
The one that did not leave the city.
Well, that's true. You're right. Zechariah 1:7-4. 1 verse 7-11. Upon the 24th day of the 11th month, which is the month Sebat, in the 2nd year of Darius, came the word of the Lord unto Zechariah, the son of Berechiah, the son of Iddo the prophet, saying, I saw by night, and behold, a man riding upon a red horse. Oh, there's a red horse. And he stood among the myrtle trees that were in the bottom, and behind him were red horses, speckled and white. So there were horses at that time. And then said I, O my Lord, what are these? And the angels that talked with me said unto me, I will show thee what this be. What are these? What does this meaning here? These horses and these myrtle trees. And the man that stood among the myrtle trees answered and said, These are they whom the Lord hath sent to walk to and fro through the earth. And they answered, and the angel of the Lord that stood among the myrtle trees and said, We have walked to and fro through the earth, and behold, all the earth sitteth still and is at rest. Okay, what does this mean? Right? So there's Zechariah, and Zechariah saw a horse, and there was a horse with a red horse, and then behind them were red horses, speckled and white. And then there was somebody walking to and fro through the earth, and at that time he said, all the earth sitteth still and is at rest. So the earth is at rest. Oh boy, this is difficult. What does this mean? All right, we go to Isaiah 14 verse 4-7. You can find this that the whole earth is rest and quiet. You got to go to another Bible, use your concordance and look it up. Right? Let's look at this. That thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon and say, How has the oppressor ceased? All right? The golden city ceased. The Lord hath broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers. He who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke, daily stroke. He that ruleth the nations in anger is persecuted, and none hindereth. Okay, when you read that, when is that? When is the king of the Babylon no longer being able to persecute God's people? When is the king of Babylon? When is the king of Babylon? 1798. That's the papacy can no longer persecute God's people, right? Its staff is broken, all right? The whole earth is at rest and is quiet. They break forth in singing. Now God's people can start singing. They can start proclaiming the first angel's message. 1798. The earth is at rest and is quiet. All right? Right, 1798. Now we go back to Zechariah. What happens? We continue Zechariah. Then the angel of the Lord answered and said, O Lord of hosts, how long wilt thou not have mercy on Jerusalem? All right? And on the cities of Judah, against which thou hast had indignation these 70 years. These 70 years. Right? How long is it that you're going to have indignation? When is the indignation? What is that? Judgment, right? The judgment's going to be given. And the Lord answered the angel and talked with me with good words and comfortable words. So the angel that communed with me said unto me, Cry thou, saying, Thus saith the Lord of hosts, I am jealous for Jerusalem and for Zion with a great jealousy. Oh, I'm jealous for Jerusalem. Okay? And I'm very sore displeased with the heathen that are at ease, for I was but a little displeased, and they helped forward the affliction. Therefore, thus saith the Lord, I am returned to Jerusalem with mercies. My house shall be built in it, saith the Lord of hosts, and a line shall be stretched forth upon Jerusalem. Cry yet, saying, Thus saith the Lord of hosts, my cities through prosperity shall yet be spread abroad, and the Lord shall yet comfort Zion, and shall yet choose Jerusalem. So when is Jerusalem chosen? When is Jerusalem chosen? It's at the midnight cry. Is there a Sunday law at the midnight cry? Yeah, the Sunday law starts at midnight cry. When is Jerusalem chosen? In Ezra 7:9, right? Ezra 7:9, they said, come out of Babylon and we're going to go to Jerusalem. When did they arrive in Jerusalem? The first day of the 5th month. First day of the 5th month, that lines up with midnight cry. Is there Sunday law at midnight cry? There's Sunday laws at midnight cry. This is when God is going to choose another Jerusalem. God is choosing Jerusalem. Which Jerusalem is he choosing? The what? The church triumphant. Because what now? There's Laodicea that has been spewed out, right? He's going to have to choose a church triumphant because Laodicea is being spewed out. Okay, so now you understand this Jerusalem. While one Jerusalem is going down, one Jerusalem is being raised up, right? Yeah, all the time. Oh, Jerusalem, Jerusalem, you're going to go down. You're going to be burned. Not one stone is going to be on top of the other. In the meantime, at the same time, he's saying, I'm choosing Jerusalem. So how could that be? Because one Jerusalem is going down, another Jerusalem is being raised up. Okay. Isaiah 6, verse 11 to 13. You just go to the Bible and find out how long. This is how they do it. Look up everywhere in the Bible that says how long. And then you read it. Then saith I, Lord, how long? And he answered, until the cities be wasted without inhabitant, and the houses without man, and the land be utterly desolate. And the Lord have removed man from far away, and there be a great forsaking in the midst of the land. But yet in it shall be a tenth, and it shall return, and shall be eaten as a tale tree and an oak, whose substance is in them. When they cast their leaves, so the holy seed shall be the substance thereof. All right, what's this? What does this mean? There's going to be, the cities are going to be wasted. That's not going to be difficult to see that that's the Sunday law. But there's going to be a group of people that is going to be called a tenth, and they shall be eaten, right? And then there's the holy seed is going to be in them. Who is this? There's going to be a first fruit that's going to be chosen, right? The first tenth is what? The first fruits. Don't you have to give your first tenth as the first fruits, right? That's your tithe. Your first fruits is your tithe, right? And that's going to be your first fruit offering, right? That's the priests and Levites going to be given. That's at the Sunday law. Do you see this now? How long it's going to be the Sunday law. All right. Psalm 74, verse 1 to 10. O God, why hast thou cast us forever? Why doth thine anger smoke against the sheep of thy pasture? Remember thy congregation, which thou hast purchased of old, the rod of thine inheritance, which thou hast redeemed, this Mount Zion, wherein thou hast dwelt. Lift up thy feet unto the perpetual desolations, even all that the enemy hath done wickedly in the sanctuary. Thine enemies roar in the midst of thy congregations. They set up their ensigns for signs. Ooh, your enemies gonna set up their ensigns, right? In the sanctuary. What is this? This is the abomination of desolation, right? Right. When does the abomination of desolation come? Midnight cry and Sunday law. Are there Sunday laws at that time? These are Sunday laws. A man was famous according as he had lifted axes upon the thick trees, and now they break down the carved work, therefore at once with axes and hammers. There was a famous man that built this sanctuary. Now they're going to destroy the sanctuary. Who was that famous man? It was Solomon. All right, but it was Solomon. But who did Solomon hire? This is just for so it's in 1 Kings 5 verse 8. And Hiram, the king of Tyre, sent to Solomon, saying, I have considered things. Solomon hired Hiram, the king of Tyre, to build the temple.
So what that means?
Yeah, this is talking about Solomon's temple being built. But what's going to happen to Solomon's temple? It's going to be destroyed. Because what? The abomination of desolation is going to come in. See? The abomination of desolation. Right? The perpetual desolations is going to come into the sanctuary. This is exactly the abomination of desolation that's talked about by Daniel. Daniel took it from Psalms, right? The desolation, the abomination of desolation is going to set up ensigns for signs in the sanctuary. This is abomination of desolation, right? He's the king of Tyre, actually. He's the builder. He was hired by Solomon to build the temple of Solomon, right? Wow, this king of Tyre. Huh? At the end, who's going to come in? Babylon is come in. Babylon, the papacy is going to come in with the doctrines of the papacy. Is going to infiltrate the church, right? Abomination of desolation, right? Yeah. Chiastic. All right. But now they that break down the carved work, therefore, are at once. So they're going to break it down. They're going to burn the sanctuary. They defile the dwelling place of thy name to the ground. That's going to, God's temple that was built up in the past is going to go down. Where? When? At the Sunday law. They said in their hearts, let us destroy them together. They have burned up all the synagogues of God in the land. We see not our signs. No more prophet. So what happened? The God's people at that time, what? They don't even see the signs. The sign of the abomination of desolation comes, and what happens to the God's people? They don't even see the sign. We see not our signs. There is no more any prophet, neither is there among us that knoweth how long. What? Spiritual Israel does not know how long. Oh my. O God, how long shall be the adversary a reproach? Shall the enemy blaspheme thy name forever? Oh my. This is terrible. Right there, okay? We're almost done, okay? I'm going to go. We're going to finish here at how long, okay? How long, O Lord, wilt thou be angry forever? Shall thy jealousy burn like fire? Pour out thy wrath upon the heathen that hath not known thee, and upon the kingdoms that have not called upon thy name. For they have devoured Jacob and laid waste his dwelling place. Or remember not against us former iniquities. Let thy tender mercy speedily prevent us, for we are brought very low. Help us, O God, our salvation, for the glory of thy name, and deliver us, purge away our sins for thy name's sake. Wherefore should the heathen say, where is their God? Let him be known among the heathen in our sight, by the revenging of the blood of thy servants, which is shed. Okay? All right. One more. Then I heard one saint speaking, and another saint said unto that certain saint which spake, how long shall be the chazon concerning the daily and the transgression of desolation? How long will the transgression of desolation continually tread upon God's sanctuary and God's host? until 2,300 days and nights, and then the sanctuary will be cleansed. Right? How long? And this is fulfilled when? October 22, 1844. And that lines up with what? The Sunday law. How long points to the Sunday law. That's when the martyrs are going to join with the martyrs that was crying even from the time of Martin Luther, right? How long? You know what the problem is? Remember what it said in Psalms? God's people does not know how long. They do not know the sign. Oh my. Terrible, right? You know what? This is why we're studying this, okay? And then we'll get to the seventh seal. Right? So far, we're only at the what? The fifth seal. Fifth seal. But we'll continue next week with the sixth seal and then the seventh seal and see how it all fits with what are the secrets that are revealed with the seven seals. But the problem is that as we study this, we understand more and more, and this is why we are crying. Because people don't understand how long, right? Wow. They don't understand this. They don't understand the abomination of desolation is being set up, even in the sanctuary. It's being set up right now. And they don't even know, they don't even see the abomination of desolation. They don't understand how long. Right? Right. And this is part of the seven seals. This is the fifth seal being opened. And it's the secret. This is the secret that is being opened. All right? Okay. And that is the more sure word of prophecy.